Doing it again.
Every time.
Every time, boys.
Whoa.
I think this is Facebook. Facebook hates us.
Facebook does
That's
not
what's
like
going
our
on.
intro.
And I can't stop it. We're just like, we're in it for the long haul here.
You're
folks.
just stuck with that sound, man.
We're just stuck with that sound. And I'm
Well,
cool with it.
That's okay. You know what?
Yeah.
Last little bit, guys. It's almost done. And there it is. We'll get that smoothed out one of these days. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, guys, welcome back to Testing Normal. This is Curtis.
This is Jordan.
This is a podcast where we
It's
talk
like
about
still clicking. Oh, it's in my other ear.
anything and everything we want to.
Boop. Anything and everything we want to.
Guys,
That's
this is
right.
episode 69.
69.
69.
Yep.
Pretty
and
crazy.
Cue all the giggles.
Giggles. Get them
and
out, guys.
jokes.
Get out
Yeah.
the giggles. Get out
But
the
we
giggles.
had to powerhouse through. We had to get through this one. So
We did it.
we're here.
We're
We're
doing
doing
it.
it for the fans.
We're doing it. Get
Not
out the
quite
giggles.
on time. My uncle says you're starting to operate more like the government. No, we're starting to act like live stream people. Usually they give a couple minutes
Yeah.
beforehand because then it allows people to like join and it sends out a notification when it's going live. So that's the way that works.
But we are open to paid supporters.
Yeah.
That might help facilitate,
Starting on time.
starting on time.
Yeah,
If you
this
guys
is
are
a self-made
interested. If you're interested.
studio is set up
Yeah.
every time we have to
We're-
come in here. So that's the
We're
way
open
it
to
works.
more additional support. A couple of extra sponsors would be great. No worries. No dramas. No dramas.
Yeah, maybe then I wouldn't have to do my own car repairs.
Yeah, car repairs. Jordan's been crushing the car repairs this week. Did you put a new Nosbogger kit, right? On your,
Nosbogger, yeah.
with
I
some port
replaced
injectors or whatever.
all the windshield fluid.
Blinker fluid topped off.
Actually, there is windshield fluid, isn't there? Blinker fluid, yeah.
Yeah, blinker
Blinker
fluid,
fluid's
right.
topped off.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Now I changed my oil, brakes, and rotors. Here's the adventure I didn't tell you about yet.
What?
So I got all the brakes and rotors, put them on there, thought everything was tightened down, went for a little test drive to see. Brakes stopped just fine, but there was like this clunking sound on the driver's side front. I'm like, this is not a good sound in a car. And so I kind of like tried to figure it out, came back, nothing seemed weird until I tried to pull the wheel off to pull the brake assembly off to see if I missed something.
And
And the lug nuts wouldn't come off.
what?
Yeah.
So
One of them did, and 4 of them were seized. And when I tried to break them free,
Oh no.
the bolts rolled off
Oh, no.
in my hand. And so I broke 4 lug studs with a breaker bar off. And then I had to go get new lug studs, pound them out, repress in 4 new lug studs. And then it works.
Oh, brutal.
So
Brutal. Oh my gosh. So did the adventure of changing your brake pads and putting new rotors on and having to go through the studs and everything like that,
yeah,
would have it been better to just pay somebody so you didn't have to go through all that?
no, not at all. I don't know if you ever priced out brake jobs, but it's like ridiculous.
Is it?
Like, yeah. It's
Like, what do you think? This was on your Suburban
No, this is my car.
Okay.
Usually the front end is between $400 and $500.
for the front end.
Yeah, because they'll usually only do rotors, which I did rotors this time. But all in all, like it was like $210 once I did the lugs and everything.
How much time did it take?
It took a little while. I think maybe like 3-4 hours.
3-4 hours.
Not too long.
Nah,
So,
that's worth it.
but that's also changing the oil, which oil in my car is all synthetic, so it's $80 to $90 if you go to the place, even
Right.
with a coupon.
Yeah.
So and if you do it like when Costco has the oil that I get on sale, it's like $45.
Ooh.
So
Okay, not bad. So for anybody that works in healthcare right now, I did not know this until after the fact, but apparently Oil Can Henry is giving free, or there are several locations that were giving free oil changes.
to people's bodies? Like, is that where the healthcare thing comes in?
Yeah. So it's supposed to be like a really healthy kind of, it's like an essential oil kind of setup,
I thought you were going to say like just for those that are in healthcare. I don't know if you know this, but oil is really bad to drink.
Don't drink
drink
synthetic
motor
oil. Don't drink synthetic.
Yeah, only drink the real stuff.
So anywho, if
That's
you guys
like
are out
eating
there and you
meat.
can prove it, I think you have to have some type of identification when you do it. But you can
Yeah.
get some pretty good free oil changes. Not a bad
Nice.
deal. Yeah. I was kind of bummed after I spent $100.
On an oil change?
Nah, it was 100.
I was like, jeez, dude. But here's what I love about getting oil changes is they're always like, yeah, this is what it's going to cost. But then there's a guy that always shows up with your air filter with the bee in it.
Right. You see this bee? That's going to bring you about 12 horsepower down.
That's like, there's always a bee. I have a theory.
They
that
have
it's the
bees on
same
stock.
bee that they just like move from filter to
A rubber
filter to
bee.
show
A
people, and
rubber
they're
bee.
like, I don't know if you see this, but there's a bee lodge in here. Like, what if you just like did that and then put the air filter back
What
in?
if you just flick? Can you
Like,
flick it for me?
It seems like that would be cheaper than me buying your $10 air filter for
Yeah.
$50.
Yeah,
like
that's a good point.
yeah.
Dude, so this month
Yes.
alone is a unique month in and of itself for the amount of wild stuff that's been going down.
Go on.
Wild stuff.
Yes.
Well, first of all, I don't feel like there's been much media attention, but are you guys out there aware of what's been going down in Iowa?
I mean, besides like cheese or that's not cheese, that's Wisconsin. It's just shaped funny. That's all I know about Iowa.
That's the depth of what you've been
that's the
grasping
depth
lately.
of my knowledge of Iowa.
So it has been through basically like they're in a state of what do you call it? Disaster state.
Oh.
Yeah. Basically.
Do you go on? Educate me, because I have no idea what's going on.
Oh, I will. A massive it's a weird word, but a massive storm went through Iowa this last week.
Okay.
And it wiped out a huge proportion of the corn and soy in Iowa. And I did not know this, but Iowa is the number one producer of corn and the number one producer of soybeans in the nation.
Two things that are almost ridiculously not good for you.
Yeah. So they were saying about, well, I mean, but they're used in so many things.
They're
for
used in other
affordable, calories in some situations. But they were saying about 35 to 50% of the corn was destroyed.
Whoa.
In the state. And they're the number one producers. And then the soy was a significant high number as well as the soy. Yeah. Also, I did not know this. I was the number one producer for pig farming too.
Did it wipe those out? That would make me sad.
I think they had a lot of cows flying. Yeah.
Pigs flying.
Not cows, sorry.
Yeah. I was like, wait, are there cows there or pigs?
But it's interesting. So it's called a derecho, a Derecho. That's a land
storm.
Yeah, is when it's like a land hurricane.
Oh.
So it was.
I thought those were just called tornadoes.
No, because it was such a wide area of location. Like you can see it from space. So if you look at
pretty much all my knowledge of storms comes from Twister,
which was a very actually I was pretty down with that movie when it came out.
I've seen it like a lot of times.
I was down for it.
And then the little things that
looking back now, I definitely see some
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I've actually frequently I've thought about. I don't know if you guys out there remember, but they had like a looked like a bomb.
Yeah.
That was filled with little tin foil.
Yeah.
Supposed
they won't go into it, but if we put these little
measuring
tin
devices.
cans on top, they'll magically go in. And then I always thought at the end of that, I was like, yay, they did it. What on earth is that going to gain them? Like. We already knew it spins in circles. Like,
what is the extra? Were they hoping for an extra dimensional portal? Or
yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's what started Stargate. I don't know. Like
SG-1 right there, baby.
That's. I have no idea.
Oh, maybe they were hoping for a portal to Atlantis.
Yeah, maybe. All I learned in that was go to a well and hook yourself to it with a belt, and you will survive a tornado.
Ooh, yeah. That's
you might fly
essential.
up. You might fly up a little. But you're going to be okay. Like you're going to be good.
The crazy thing about Iowa is that there's still a significant portion of people that have no power. So
really?
Yeah. So they were saying, I think it might have been as of
are there any really big
yesterday,
cities in
over
Iowa?
12,000 people didn't have electricity still.
That's quite a bit.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a couple. Cedar Rapids, I think, is decent size.
That just sounds like a river.
It does sound like a river. You're right, and I'm sure there are maybe some rapids in that area.
This is showing our Iowa knowledge at this point.
Oh yeah, like it's terrible, horrible. Yeah. Anyway, so really crazy storm, really crazy amount of destruction that was going on in Iowa.
Yeah,
but I don't feel the media's talked about it barely at all. Am I wrong on that?
No, I haven't heard about it, but I can't say that I sit and watch the news. But I haven't.
Well, I don't either.
I haven't seen it show up on Reddit or anything like that.
Yeah,
most of the stuff that shows up for me is like tech stuff. I have heard about more fires in California, which is super sad.
And let's talk about
I had
that.
friends that were affected by it the last time. They haven't been so far this time.
Because it's mostly Northern California.
Right, that's where they were. They were in Redding when it wiped through there.
Yeah. Super terrible, though.
Yeah.
Super terrible situation. So I did not know this. They believed that some of the fires had started from lightning strikes.
Yeah, a lot of fires are.
But they were saying that because of the weather and the pressure, this has just amplified the lightning strikes. And they were saying that over the past week, they've had over 12,000 lightning strikes.
Well, I've heard that
that
fires burning can change the atmosphere enough that it can cause more lightning strikes, which then it just kind of compounds the
negative
problem.
feedback loop.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. Like they're getting repetitive fires just because of the fact that they've had so much extra lightning on top of it as well. So I was looking at a graph because I was curious about how much land has been burnt this year. And I remember last year actually as well, it was a big deal, the fires,
was huge,
right?
Remember, and they couldn't get it out.
Remember in 2019 there was all those communities that burnt down and everything?
No, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, so friends that we stayed in their neighborhood before, and it's gone.
It's toast.
Yeah.
So in 2019,
probably not the greatest alliteration, but
it's crispy.
Yeah.
In 2019, those fires burnt down around 259,000 acres.
Whoa.
Of land.
Yeah.
259,000 acres of land. But just in this circumstance, in this current fire, more than 1.1 million acres.
Whoa.
In northern and central California have been destroyed. Think about that. That's so much. More than 1 million acres have burnt.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Hey, well, I guess one positive is most people probably had a mask this time.
Yeah, but I don't think they're smoke-proof masks.
No.
Right?
That's true.
Oh, dude, so
any dust would be better.
And what's interesting, too, is that I know Trump had been pushing for them to do more clearing of the brush underneath the main larger trees. But apparently, I don't know, obviously there's a lot of other things going on in California and the world that they didn't do that from 2019, and so they were trying to withhold disaster relief funds.
That's been a lot
California.
of the issue. It's like, you see, I mean, if you take it to like the extreme, and none of us were here, fires would happen naturally, things would clear off, grass would grow up, and it would start the ecosystem restarting over again. Like that's how it's naturally supposed to happen. So fires inherently aren't bad. They're part of the system that works for the environment. But when there's people involved, you obviously don't want the fires to burn near where they're residing and all that kind of stuff. So there's got to be some other way to do it. But we don't clear cut anymore, which people thought like they demonized it so badly. And in some cases it is, if you don't reprod and all that kind of stuff. But because we don't do that anymore, and a lot of places have shut it down, we've like caused super fires because we've allowed this brush to stay there and all that kind of stuff. And
I mean, super fires were taking place before we were clear cutting.
Yes, sure. But like the ones that have happened here, just in Eastern Oregon and everything, are bigger than we've ever had on record because there was so much more fuel for it to go further and further because we hadn't clear cut, and there weren't because grass would stop it. Like a field would stop or give it a chance to slow down and not just spread.
Well, and I think I've seen quite a bit in Eastern Oregon where they started to clear the underbrush. They do that actually really good in Eastern Oregon, I think.
They do now. Yeah, they've learned in the last decade or so.
Hopefully, I think it's a bit thicker of an environment.
But even that, like the grass
valley,
is needed
harder
because that's when like actual like animal life comes back. It's wild to see how much they will move into an area because they have more feed and all that kind of stuff.
So thoughts going out to California. Yeah. That's crazy. Iowa. Getting
the storm. I don't know what you do about that. You just
getting beat up, man, by a storm. Yeah. There's really. You can't really do anything about that.
You could maybe Trump's wall. Build a tall enough.
Biodome. I guess a biodome.
Build a tall enough Trump wall.
Or you could have some type of like internal agricultural or underground ag, right?
Underground, like the Matrix. Like
well, that's human. That's human agriculture.
No. They built agriculture underground to keep away the people that didn't get. Jacked in.
Right. The people built it. Right. Got it. Yeah. So anyways, I wanted to just kind of touch on those subjects because I don't know if a lot of people knew about the Iowa situation.
Yeah. So I want to jump to a tech topic real quick.
Hit me.
Here's one that I don't think has hit the news as much as it should. It has hit my sphere of news because I look at the tech side of things. But I don't think that people understand like what goes into like that. People just pick up their iPhone like this works. I have an app. I want this addition to it. They pay for it, whatever, and that's just
with
It's their ecosystem that
yeah.
they're used to. So everyone's used to it. Whether you have Android, or you have Apple, like you're just used to like, oh, I'm gonna pay $10 for this app, whatever.
Right.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
If there's an add-on to the app, you're like, oh, it's $2 or it's like $3 a month or something like that. People do that. They don't think about the agreements that go behind that.
Right.
Well, a little tiny company called Epic Games, which is not really tiny, that's kind of a joke. They're the ones that have made Fortnite, and Fortnite's a free-to-play game that if you have any kids, I'm sure that you've seen them play it or talked about it. They do, and they also own the Unreal Engine, which a lot of games use for their graphics. Know that.
Wow.
And that comes into the second part of the story.
I think Epic actually owns Battlefield.
They do. Yes.
Yeah.
So I believe they do.
I think they do.
So this last week, Epic was found to have slipped into the Apple App Store an update to their game, which bypassed Apple's in-app purchase agreement. So Apple has an agreement with anyone who's a developer. They come into the platform. If you do an in-app purchase, Apple gets a 30% cut of every purchase of apps or in-app purchases. So a lot of people like Netflix and stuff, if you try to subscribe through the app, I don't know if you can anymore, because when they do that, they would lose a cut to Apple. Right. So either they don't enable it and you just have to sign into your Netflix account, or they upcharge to make up that loss that they would have because of the convenience of using the App Store. Epic bypassed it altogether and didn't tell Apple, and it slipped through the update thing. Apple found it and removed the game from the App Store and said, fix it.
Well, basically, Epic was saving tons of money.
Yes, but they broke their agreement, because when you go into a developer agreement with Apple, you sign away and you say, "This, I agree to this." So there's a legal obligation there. Everyone does it. And so Epic immediately dropped a lawsuit that was pre-prepared because they knew that Apple would delete it. Then, not only that, they dropped a video that imitated Apple's old 1984 video, like sticking it to the man with the hammer.
Right, I remember that.
And they did it in Fortnite. They had pre-created this video.
They knew this was going to happen.
With a hashtag Free the Fortnite, and tried to get all these kids to start hating on Apple for removing their game. They did it within hours of Apple removing the game. So they knew it was going to happen.
Fascinating.
So then a bunch of YouTubers have put out videos saying, don't give in to Epic. This is a multi-million-dollar company suing a multi-million-dollar company. Don't get involved in that. Don't let them make you a tool. So they were smart to say that to people, saying, don't do this. Well, as it turns out, they sued Apple same day. Within 6 hours, Google yanked it from their store.
What, Google yanked Fortnite?
Yes.
Because did they have the same thing going through Google?
They had the same contract with Google. Google yanked it and said, no, you can't do this.
Wild.
So big deal, right? So then Apple ups the ante because they got sued. They said, okay, you have 14 days or else we're removing your developer license altogether, which means any game that uses the Unreal Engine on the Apple App Store will no longer be able to get updates.
Whoa.
So any game that's
big
built
leverage. That's big leverage
with Unreal. Yeah. So Epic has said we can't do it that quickly. They're trying to ask for stays. So far it hasn't gone through. Quickly. Well, just yesterday, Microsoft signed saying that they're siding with Epic on this. I don't know the details of how hard they're siding with them, but most people are not. They're saying, no. This is the price you pay to be in this ecosystem. Apple has created this ecosystem.
That means Microsoft is trying to come out with their own app.
I kind of think that's what it is. And they don't get a cut when people buy a game on Microsoft Windows.
I mean, yeah, you buy something on, just go online and you buy something, you play with a PC.
So,
yeah.
We'll see where it goes. It's kind of a big deal, especially the Unreal Engine part of it. That's where it kind of got big, because any game that runs that can't get an update. And now that's what they're doing, this Free the Fortnite hashtag, because this next update, this next season that they're about to release, nobody with an iPhone will be able to get the update to play the game anymore.
But do you think the majority of people that play Fortnite are on iPhones, or do you think
it's pretty split?
The majority are on PC.
It's a cross-platform player base.
I mean, I think in my head, I would imagine majority of people are playing console or PC.
You'd think, but there's a ton of kids that are playing on mobile, or people that go between the two.
Interesting. That's interesting. I would not have assumed that many people play on a small device.
It's like a huge stinking deal.
Because how are you going to see? You can't see your enemies that well,
people play on iPad.
Yeah, I guess iPads
and like a bigger iPhone, like you're up close. So
yeah,
it's not. My kids play on it and they do really well, actually.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so that's crazy though. That's pretty cool development.
It's pretty wild. I would side with these YouTubers saying, don't get involved. Epic knew what they were getting into when they signed this contract. And here's the thing. So in court now, a lot of things have come to light. And this is the one last big thing about this story. Fortnite had said, we tried to talk to Apple and they wouldn't respond to us. Mm-hmm. Tim Cook presents the email, the correspondence that he had with Epic. Epic was trying to get a side deal with Apple to get an exclusive offer to have less money that they have to pay into the app ecosystem than other people. And they produced that we indeed did correspond with you. You just didn't like our answer. So, but they were telling everyone Apple wouldn't talk to us.
Oh, of course they were. Of course they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're trying to make themselves look better.
So now it's all in court, and it'll be interesting to see. They're not a very big company as far as like companies go. Mm-hmm. It just seems kind of like a big deal to go against Apple. But.
Totally. Speaking of blood-sucking companies.
Yeah. Do it.
Did you hear about what was going on in Florida with the mosquitoes?
No. I saw a title to one of your links.
Yeah.
But I didn't read into it.
I think this is a great idea.
So
no. I really do. I would
is
be
it
a proponent.
A COVID cure in mosquitoes?
No, it has nothing to do with COVID. Good. I would be a big proponent of this taking place, especially in like Africa, where we deal with malaria so prominently.
Yeah.
Or in South America, where you deal with Zika more commonly. But it actually has recently been approved by the state, final approval from local authorities and from basically the health department of Florida.
Right.
They're going to release 750 million genetically engineered mosquitoes throughout Florida. And this is a way
for what?
So I actually watched a documentary about this. Maybe it seems like it was like 8 years ago, maybe 5 or 8 years ago.
Yeah, I've heard of them wanting to do this or whatever. I'm like, well, you're already spraying stuff with contrails from planes anyway, so why not release the mosquitoes?
Well, or
murder hornets.
The nice thing about this is that they're not going to be releasing any chemicals. It's an alternative to using chemicals.
Okay.
But essentially what happens is that these genetically modified mosquitoes spread out throughout the state, and they mate with normal mosquitoes.
Okay.
And then they have children that are barren. So it prevents them from having children that can have children, essentially. So
it's like making a mule.
Yeah.
A bunch of them.
Yeah.
And then none of them can have babies. They can just carry heavy things. You know what I'm talking about?
Super close.
Yeah.
Super close. So here, this is what it says. It says, so there's a couple different types. Maybe not though. But so they said the mosquito's been altered to produce female offspring that die in the larval stage, well before hatching and growing large enough to bite and spread disease. Right. Only female mosquitoes bite for blood. Okay. So male mosquitoes only feed on nectar and are not any carriers of disease or anything like that. But it's not the first time that it's been done with mosquitoes. I saw that they did that in South Africa South America. They were doing it.
It seems like a good idea.
I hope this is something that they continue to pick up on.
Yeah, especially near some areas where we hike and stuff. Could we just testing grounds?
But man, if it's working, why not make it a standard across all of the? Okay,
what ecological or environmental positive or negative do mosquitoes have?
Fascinating question, and I think I may have answered this question before, so I might sound like a broken record.
I don't remember, so just tell me.
So everybody out there, listen to this. This is a really cool. I'll have to try to find the study, but there was a really impressive study that took place.
Okay.
And they looked at what would the ecological impact be of eliminating mosquitoes. Yeah. How many animals do we know that feed off of mosquitoes and need them for
fish
for routine nourishment? So fish little bit, a tiny bit, but it was more bats a little bit. But even that, it wasn't their main source of nourishment. Yeah. So they found that out of all species there would only be they theorized one species that would suffer from it.
What?
And it wasn't even an animal. It was a rare flower in Alaska that it's one of the main pollinators of this rare flower that's like nowhere else, doesn't grow anywhere else in the world but Alaska, like the super cold Arctic northern part of Alaska.
Yeah.
And there's tons of mosquitoes in Alaska, right?
Yeah.
Like
So
the size
many.
of like bats, essentially.
Yeah. They are bats, actually. Bats are smaller than mosquitoes in Alaska.
The mosquitoes eat the bats.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they found that they believe that that would be the only major ecological impact. But I thought about this from the other side. What if mosquitoes are actually the Mother Nature's or the Earth's defense mechanism against humans? More so. Because they're one of the most... or they're one of the main that they've contributed to more deaths than I think any other species on this planet is mosquitoes by spreading disease. So it's like, what if mosquitoes
But how long has that been
have
going
kept
on?
us in check?
Yeah. It's a decent thought, like keeping things from spreading too far.
I'm not saying that I want mosquitoes to kill people.
No.
But in terms of, that's interesting, like thinking about it from the opposite perspective. Mosquitoes have done a lot of damage.
It is kind of funny to me that we like are so afraid. Like I say we, but you hear it preached kind of in culture of like overpopulation and it's not good for the environment and everything. Although if we weren't here, like what's the point of the things? But and then we're like fighting this whole like 327 people have died in Oregon due to this. Like, hey, well, it's just our part in overpopulation, guys. Let's
with COVID?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like, let's stop freaking out. It's just we're doing our part in overpopulation.
Oh gosh.
Like, now you care about people dying?
That's
weird.
interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is interesting where people decide when they care and when they don't care.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
It's less fascinating and more so just like baffling. I don't know.
It's almost sort of,
when do things become
kind of those aren't mutually exclusive.
One's just like, eh? And one's like, tell me more. You know, like one's like, I don't really want to hear more. I'm just confused by your logic.
Yeah.
And one's like, tell me more. I'm curious. Like,
yeah, it's interesting.
I'm not really curious.
I'm
perplexed.
So yeah, we'll see what happens in Florida, but hopefully it doesn't cause, somehow a negative effect and they get extra Zika babies out of it, or the spread of COVID extra out of it, or whatever. I don't know. But I mean, that does seem like quite a few extra mosquitoes to be swatting at and dealing with.
Yeah.
Right?
Speaking of swatting at.
Yeah.
That doesn't have anything to do with the next topic. I was just trying to
transition.
trying to transition, but it wasn't going to work. We talked a little bit beforehand and you had some good questions. I had zero answers, which is totally fine. The other thing that's been like hitting big, and not just with like I actually would have expected to see this with like conservative groups or even like religious groups or whatever, but it hasn't been that. It's been like the whole Reddit sphere just hates this idea. Is this Netflix series or movie or whatever? I don't even actually know what it is, called Cuties. Now, for those of you that don't know what this is, essentially, from what I can gather, because I even felt creepy just watching the trailer, because I wanted to see what these people were like hating on so much, and that's about all there is.
That you saw people on Reddit hating about this movie.
Yeah, about, hey, so number one, the cover to it does look pretty creepy. So little kid pageants have always creeped me out.
Right. There's something innately creepy about.
But this is more about like the TikTok culture and like 11-year-old girls kind of over-sexualized in that social media area where they're gaining attention or likes or whatever.
Totally.
And what people have really been up in arms about is mostly just like the effort it's taken to have these girls act these parts, and then also kind of glamorize what they're doing and saying like, hey, this is creepy. This is going to feed a generation of pedophiles are going to watch this. This doesn't look like something that was good entertainment. Even if they're even saying like, even if they're preaching against that this is not a good, healthy thing in social media for them to be involved in. Even if that's what they're saying, they'd rather them say that than make a movie about it because of the context and the content and the way that it's created takes place.
Yeah, it's interesting. So when you were telling me about this, I hadn't heard about it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me with so we saw like a really short little trailer.
Yeah.
And the trailer looked kind of like a Step Up, a dance kind of movie for younger kids.
Yeah.
And it's in French. So it's a French movie.
Yeah.
Kind of like a dance movie. And I didn't necessarily see the obvious kind of sexual connotation from that trailer that we saw.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean that there's not trailers out there that are showing that for sure.
And that's the thing is like, even because we watched it real quick before we started, that's kind of why we were late. But like in the background, if it's blown up, you can kind of see the stuff that's going on in the background.
Oh, yeah.
It is very like hypersexualized for that age.
Yeah, that's creepy. That's weird. That doesn't make sense why that would be pushed.
And then someone brought up the point, like on average, how many people have to audition for parts in a movie?
Well, another interesting kind of thought
is like they didn't just like, oh, hey, you're good for this.
Yeah.
Like literally, like someone like was saying the numbers essentially for the amount of actors and stuff. It would have had to have been thousands of 11-year-old aged girls or around that age that were having to come in and do these dances for people to audition for this movie.
Well, and I'm not by no stretch of the sense am I defending that there should be hypersexualized young male or females by any ways. But I do think, and I'm curious, because it's a French movie, if their cultural expectations and norms are like, no, we don't consider that being a sexual act as much as
like having seen it, like it looks like they're almost like it is in French, like the languages, but the style is, it looks like US American culture.
Oh, interesting. So that's interesting, yeah.
But which I mean, cultures have kind of melded, so
I would
probably
really
could look similar.
Hope
but
that this is being that it's not that.
Yeah.
I really hope it's not that.
People are calling for Netflix to cancel it.
Interesting. So is it on Netflix right now?
No, it's supposed to come out like on September 9th.
Oh, okay.
But people are like, I guess Amazon had a similar type movie a year or two ago,
really?
and they ended up deleting it.
Good. Yeah, I don't think that there is, at least
it's the same to me. It's the same idea. It's
I'm trying to think like can you justify a different culture having different expectations, or not different expectations, but like different standards? Like I know in Europe they see our violent movies as being like horrible. True. Like I can't believe they would allow like some of these like Maze Runner where kids are like killing each other, like that, or Hunger Games. Right, like those are. I can't believe they would.
Well, except that you have to think about like
children.
But there are cultures that deem like things normal.
And I'm not
for
saying
young
the French
girls
people
that are horrible. It's like, I don't care about your culture. That's wrong.
And I'm not saying the French people are okay with sexualizing 11-year-olds.
I don't.
So I'm not trying to get Napoleon's pissed at me.
No, it's okay. They can't punch at you anyway.
They can't reach over here.
But yeah, it's concerning. It's one of those things. It's like, okay, yeah, this is actually going on. Like we've talked about TikTok. We've talked about that kind of stuff. But the way that it looks to be being done is not necessarily demonizing it. It's making a story out of it.
This is what I do like. I really like that there is enough of a social presence, such as Reddit, that if something does have a sketchy undertone to it, like this movie may have, I really like that there's enough of a community that... this is kind of the opposite spectrum of where you see people like social justice warriors, or you see people like people kind of trolling. Like this is the opposite spectrum where people are like, we want to protect these kids.
Yes,
this seems sketchy, so we need to push against it. And that's where you kind of see maybe the positive side of not social media, but communities like Reddit. Yeah,
it's more like a community. The way that I like how those comments are is because there's definitely some out there that are just. They're basically literally just trolling, or they're just looking for hype or whatever.
Trying to hype.
But then there's the people that are like, here's the evidence, and they link out to all these different statistics and stuff, and it's like, oh my gosh, okay, so it brings so much more light to this teeny tiny story you just brought to light.
Totally.
And it gives it context, and that's kind of where people were going, was like, hey, this is the kind of numbers it would take. Like, imagine for a moment whether this movie has a bad whatever, bad storyline or bad connotation. Imagine the amount of little girls that are expected to perform like this. This movie.
There's something so weird about pageants in general. I know it's not pageant thing,
I
but
don't think they're right.
That's such a super
Call
weird,
me judgy, but it's stupid.
Call me crazy.
Yeah,
this is where I think for me it seems like it becomes excess is when you go from like I think it's okay to have like cute baby like commercials. Like you're like, oh, that's a cute baby, like they're trying to sell cereal and that's a cute baby eating a bowl of cereal. That
or they're like
when you're trying to
I had nephews that go and have like their pictures taken for like clothes ads.
Yeah,
whatever.
But
it's not dancing.
But it's not a pageant.
And they get free clothes out of it.
Yeah, they're not trying to.
Yeah,
they're not trying to make the kid into an adult.
Yeah,
which is weird.
Exactly, like Honey Boo Boo.
Like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think her life has been pretty rough lately, I heard. Her mom I think her mom just went
and
to
it's
prison.
all thanks to pageants. That's why.
All thanks to pageants.
That's why. So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about was, and I hope you've watched this if you haven't.
Kamala Harris.
So that is tied to what I was going to say.
Oh, okay. Or Biden. JoJo.
So I watched his speech.
Okay.
And
did you watch Michelle Obama's speech?
Yes.
Okay.
I watched Michelle's. I watched Camilla's, however you say her name. Chameleon.
Kamala.
And I watched Joe's.
Hala Kamala.
I did watch Obama's.
Okay.
As well. Just to see. Like, like, love him, hate him, whatever. People, don't be mad just because we watched him. It's what's going on in the world right now.
I'll be glad that we did.
I saw a headline and I was like, yes, I agree with this. Whether or not I agree or disagree with some of the things that Joe Biden stands for, which is not the topic right now. He sounded very clear.
He did.
And polished.
Very much so.
And normal.
Right.
And not like he had a stroke.
No, he didn't. I was fascinated by that.
And I the whole time I'm waiting for him to bumble and he just didn't.
He didn't.
And I was like, either it's a robot or here's my first thought. My first thought was the dude was totally sandbagging in the beginning to get Trump to call him out on dementia and get all the people riled up about how old they are and everything.
That's
and
wild,
then he comes out just guns ablaze like pew pew pew. Check it out. I'm fine. And they're nuts.
Whoa, dude, that's a crazy theory there. I hadn't even thought about that.
Because he was so smooth. Like there was nothing. There was one spot where he mispronounced
what was it?
something.
It was seeming like exponential, or it was
and he corrected himself.
Yeah,
and it was just like any other human being. It wasn't. If he hadn't done that, I would have thought robot. But because
I'm sure he was reading it.
They always do. Yeah. That's fine, and that's totally the norm.
Someone else wrote it. I'm sure
that's what you do and everything. But the way that it was done, and the other thing that I found fascinating, and I'll put a link up to this because I don't want to put the picture up right now. The guy who directed that live airing did it from his living room. He has a couple of
from Biden's living room.
No. He did it from his own living room and live streamed all of the Democratic.
This is what I was wondering. Was it live streamed though, or was it? I had the theory and the idea of I wonder if it was maybe just a pre-recorded video.
No, he live streamed it.
How do you know it was really live?
Because I saw his setup. It's a live stream setup.
But Biden's video.
No, they broadcast it on TV. He live stream broadcast it from his living room. I've seen his setup. But couldn't
it be a pre-recorded thing that they then click play the Joe Biden thing, and then it would just look like it's live?
It didn't look like it. From the setup
when I was watching, I was wondering, like, this is so perfect.
He had all the camera angles.
He had to have recorded this.
Like, I believe it was live.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't, but it seems
at least the setup that he had was set up as if there were cameras in other locations,
okay,
and he was feeding them in and doing it all.
Because
he had a headset on, like, that he was talking back to people.
I felt the most moved by Michelle's speech.
I thought hers was okay. I think I was so stunned by the fact that Biden spoke clearly.
Yeah.
And then the whole time thinking, oh, he just faked him out. He was trying to get them to call him.
Well,
nuts.
You know what's going to happen.
Because then he disappeared for a while.
We'll see during the debates. They're having a debate in Arizona, right?
I don't know.
I think there's a debate coming up in Arizona. So we'll see what the actual status of JoJo is and kind of be able to go from there.
Right.
I do think with Kamala, I'm not a huge fan of her prosecutor history when she was in San Francisco. She really had a lot of, I feel like, for my more probably liberal leaning perspectives, I feel like she was pretty had a lot of unfavorable kind of rulings towards people with minimal. Oh wow,
that was live.
Oh,
there's
so
no way.
Right now, Jordan's showing me a video of.
It's not a video. It's just
not a video. A picture of the guy that was streaming.
It's Glenn Weiss, which he did some other things too. But if you look in the background, he's definitely
all these monitors in his living room.
He's got his Emmys.
Oh wow!
But he's like in shorts and bare feet.
I love that he's doing t-shirt, it like that.
And he's just like, I'm flexing.
Yeah, he's so flexing.
But yeah, you can see each one of them.
Huh.
All the scenes.
Interesting. I'm surprised only one guy was doing it.
I mean, that speaks to the technology that there's today. It would have taken a whole room of people to do this before, but he did this from his living room.
That's amazing. That's incredible. Anyways, yeah. So Kamala, I'm a little iffy. I wish Joe could have picked a different running mate.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll see. Tulsi Gabbard would have been fantastic. Yeah, that would have been so cool. Honestly, Michelle, they would have won if he would have picked Michelle.
I know, but I don't think she wants to do it.
There's no doubt in my mind they would have won.
People have said like, oh, if Michelle runs for president, yada yada, but she even said in her speech, she's like, I hate politics.
Yeah. Well, then The Rock runs, and Michelle does Vice. True. And then she wouldn't have to deal with politics as much as Vice. As Vice, basically, you're just a glorified PR person, and you just go around doing events.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, or like the conservatives were saying before this convention, like, oh, Biden's just picking the next president. I'm like, I don't know if you saw him speaking, but
after that speech, it gave me pause and being like, whoa.
Yeah.
Damn,
I was like, what happened?
Biden really stepped up his game.
Like, what did you just, he went and took a nap for the last 3 months.
He had a good nap.
Is what he did. He's like, this whole COVID thing, I planned it so I could get some rest and come out guns a-blazing.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. Maybe other people had a different... I tried to go into it with as little bias as possible. And, yeah, it kind of blew me away.
He was surprising.
Yeah, not necessarily what he was saying. I was just like, oh my gosh, like you can talk.
You can actually have lucid conversation that doesn't seem that it's forced.
Yeah,
like seems pretty smooth.
Because let's be real, like Trump's not smooth either. Like,
no, but also Trump seems like he's at least aware of what's going on around him. Yeah, and those previous kind of interactions and videos that we've seen of Joe seemed like he was not aware of what's going on. I've talked to people on
both sides of the fence of politics be like, yeah, Biden doesn't seem with it. I'm like,
right. So this was good for Biden. Yeah. This was good. This was a good one for him.
I think it was. I think he was playing it, though. I think he was sandbagging.
That'd be fascinating if he was. I'm excited to see what the debates look like. So that'd be cool.
But yeah, that was... Yeah, and then the other thing was just the whole Kamala. How do you say her name?
Kamala.
Okay. It's like koala.
You have such a hard time with that. It's hilarious.
Well, I've heard it said like 4 different ways. That's the thing. Like, even Biden, I think, said it 2 different ways.
Did he?
Yeah. He's like...
Well, I wonder if he still remembers who he picked, though. He might have forgotten. Okay, you want to do some TILs? Or you got anything else you want to hit it?
I do have a TIL.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go first.
Okay, you go.
All right. Today I learned that a recent study found that the size of a lottery win subsequently increases borrowing and bankruptcies among neighbors of the winner. So as the lottery prize you win increases, so does the typical amount of borrowing and bankruptcies that occur in your surrounding neighbors.
I believe it.
Isn't that fascinating?
Oh, the surrounding people?
Yeah, the surrounding people.
Whoa.
Yeah, they're competing.
Jono just said Trump-Biden debates are going to be the greatest entertainment of 2020.
Jono,
okay, here's the deal. I totally agree with you, and I would agree with you any other year. But also in 2020, the bar is not super set that high. The bar is set at Tiger King. And let's be real, that was only good because we were all locked in our houses.
That's a good one. Actually, Jono, I don't know if you're still listening right now, ma'am, but I just found in our car underneath the seat, we have your GoPro. So I need to get that to you, man. I just found a GoPro.
Your box of tampons is
under in my glove box. In my glove box. So if you need them next month, let me know. Yeah. I got them for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay, hit me with your
Okay,
TIO.
TIO. Maybe I've said this one before because it was in my saves. If I did, then just stop me. But TIL, McDonald's did away with their spoon-shaped coffee stirrers because people were using them as cocaine spoons.
Oh, no, I didn't know that. That's fascinating.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Ingenuity.
I know.
You never know where
I wondered where my cocaine spoons went.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug. Man, it'll get you thinking.
I was like, man, it helped me kick the habit. Didn't have a spoon.
Didn't have
Stop
a spoon.
cocaine.
Stop cocaine.
Yeah.
Today I learned that most of Hawaii's male prison population are actually housed in Arizona by contract. Yeah. So the guards also at that, they have to take a Hawaiian diversity training if they're working in that prison. Because Hawaii's, I guess they don't have the size to hold a prison that could host enough inmates. So they actually put them all on a plane or ship and send them out to Arizona. So yeah, majority of Hawaii's male prisoners are in Arizona.
That either speaks to the lack of people that get imprisoned,
or the number of people.
Or the number of people. Yeah.
Probably the number.
Huh.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Okay, I got another TIL.
Okay, go. Because I only had one.
Today I learned that during the sinking of the Titanic, an order to evacuate women and children first by the captain was misinterpreted to mean women and children only.
Oh.
Yeah. And so as a result...
big detail.
Very important detail. As a result, men were prevented from entering the lifeboats.
So this is why Jack
even
died.
when they were empty seats, and only 20% of the men survived.
That's why Jack died.
That's why...
Yeah.
Boy,
She hadn't have snapped his frozen hand off that board, he would have probably survived anyway.
She totally took him off the
It's
board. Yeah, girl, she let it go. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, shower thoughts. I'm gonna hit
shower thoughts.
You go first.
That's the music. I actually don't have a lot this week.
Oh yeah.
Owning a lot of cars is classy if you're rich, but trashy if you're poor.
Very true. Very true. Something people don't think about enough probably is that you've been pushed through the genitals of both genders.
Oh. I want to cease thinking about that.
Something that most people don't want to ever think about.
Yeah, like let's just be done with it. Okay, we'll just cut that part out of this episode.
All right.
And we're done thinking about it.
Oh, it's gonna come back.
Oh, I'm sure it will. Yeah. Water is really what a rainbow tastes like.
Yeah. Except missing one ingredient of light.
Taste the rainbow.
Water in your mouth with a flashlight is what a rainbow tastes like.
Yeah. Water with photons.
Yeah.
Which tastes just like water.
Okay. Everybody wants to believe that the system, quote, quote, is rigged. But nobody wants to believe the system is rigged in their favor.
Oh, that's true.
Right?
Or they're okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Being with people who don't listen is lonelier than being alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably. Or more frustrating for sure.
What?
So this is my last shower thought I got for you guys because I'm done with that. I need to be alone. A red color is symbolized as a color typically that's vibrant and energetic. You think of a red sports car, something like that.
Yeah.
But is actually the light wave with the lowest amount of energy in the visible spectrum.
Yeah, because if you travel really fast, the red goes away and all you see is blue.
Yeah, kind of interesting.
Yeah, red shift.
Red shift, baby. All day, every day.
As you approach the speed of light, red goes away.
All day, every day. Pew, pew.
Also, red is not vibrant to colorblind people.
Yeah, right. Makes sense.
Took me a long time to figure out why they put red flags on the back of things that stick off trucks because I can't see them.
Doesn't help at all.
It doesn't help me at all. I'm like, that's not helpful at all. Why'd they put something like
silly gray flag
bright blue or flashing on the back of that?
You got a last shower thought?
One last one.
Hit it.
Camping.
Glamping.
Is more of an exercise in planning than in surviving, unless planned very poorly.
Good one. That's true. Yeah. So everybody out there, be safe this week. Have some safe camping or glamping. And watch out for those fires. Watch out for those crazy land hurricanes. And hope you all have a great week.
Lurricanes.
Iowa canes.
Leonard-canes.
Iowa canes.
See you guys.
All right, guys. Peace out. Have a good week.
Bye.